Hello. Hi, how you guys doing? So, this is very late at night, and I should be going to sleep sometime soon, but I just finished my stream, and I just wanted to address this, or make this video before putting it out there into the world. It's about a topic that that my buddies over at Work 2 Games have already touched upon. So if you haven't seen their video, I'm going to link it in the description down below. And the video that they were responding to, which was Link's Camille, I think, which I am also going to link in the descriptions. I wanted to talk about this topic for a little bit because, to be honest, it's about the community in itself for Final Fantasy XIV and the toxicity that has, well, been blind enough for me to ignore it, but it's still there, and it's probably because of the data center and the server that I'm on. I am in the Crystal data center and the Diabolos server, so I don't get a lot of negative reactions or a bad time when it comes to me going through dungeons and raids. I've used to had that. I've had my share of toxic and negative things happening to me while I was playing 14. I've even had them on my videos, but you know, I can ignore that. What I'm talking about is the toxicity within this community is kind of staggering from the stories that I've heard, and it gets to me because we're supposed to be better, right? We're supposed to be that community that even WoW players are impressed with, but after watching both the videos for Links and Work 2 Games, I just want to address this. I want to say that we should be doing better. We should definitely be doing better. I mean, I've had those times where I was in a dungeon. This was a long time ago. I was in a dungeon and I was pulling very slow. I wasn't pulling big, gigantic mobs, and you know, out of nowhere, this DPS, a DPS told me to pull bigger mobs. Now, I never asked the healer, and the healer was fine with it, of course, and the healer didn't say anything at all while I was pulling the mobs that I was pulling before, but they wanted me to pull the big mobs, they wanted me to rush, they wanted me to keep going, and at the end of the dungeon, throughout the whole entire time, I was being harassed. He said he would never play with a tank like me again, and I'm pretty sure I was banned on his list there of his you know, so-called elite people, but I never saw that person again. I did meet apparently his wife in another dungeon, and she just kept giving me you know, ellipses, which is like the 3 dots, and she didn't say anything at all throughout the dungeon. And I checked her info, and it says that she was the wife of the very same guy who was giving me so much lip in another dungeon. But this was years ago. This was when 2.0 actually came out in The Realm Reborn, and it's not like I haven't had this kind of toxicity in other MMOs, but when it came to Final Fantasy XIV, what was the biggest thing that we've always said when it came right down to it? Like, we were inviting for anybody who wanted to come in, we opened our arms to anybody who was a WoW refugee. We have content creators who were WoW refugees. I haven't seen a Scott Zone video or a stream in a long time. I'm pretty sure he's like somewhere in the ether, and I enjoyed a hell of a lot of his videos and a lot of his content, but he's gone. And I think part of it was either like lack of content or probably the toxic community. I'm not really too sure. Don't take my word for it. It could be anything. It could be IRL stuff. It could be he doesn't have time to do it anymore. That's fine. But when it comes right down to it, I felt the 14 community was so much better. Hearing that there is so much elitism and how people have this kind of prejudice against newer players, and saying that the game was basically made for casuals, which I'm going to say this right now. The game is basically made for casuals. But let me say this first, because I completely forgot. I'm coming off the stream that I just played right now. It was basically talking about the toxicity of the 14 community. Made some good friends, know some new people now. It's pretty nice. And if you guys want to catch me on those streams, I stream pretty much like every day. You can catch me at like 6, 6:30 or 5:30, depends. I do put up like you know, warnings or when I'm going to schedule a stream pretty much every day except for maybe Sunday. And if you want to catch me, you can catch me here on YouTube or on Twitch. I'll leave the links in the description. Make sure you follow both of them if you want to catch me streaming live. You can have your chat with me. I do have a Discord as well, which I'm not going to post because the Discord is not finished, but you can get access if I feel like it to the Discord while I'm on stream. What we mainly talked about while I was streaming was just the amount of toxicity that's in there. People who go through dungeons really fast and don't really slow down for the new people who just can't catch up or can't keep up. So I was actually in a dungeon where the healer couldn't keep up with the tank while in that stream, but we weren't toxic. We didn't say hurry up. The tank actually slowed down for the healer because they couldn't heal fast enough. Now, I've had times where healers would apologize and say that they fucked up or they messed up, and I'm sitting here, I'm like, no, I didn't keep aggro or something like that. And that's a very, polite way of saying, like, yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do that. And the other person saying, like, yeah, me too, I'm sorry, let's do a little bit better, let's slow down. But I've heard that there are a lot of people out there who try to push players to doing things that they don't want, and it's very uncomfortable for them, like rushing a dungeon to the point where they're basically doing things they don't normally do. It's very uncomfortable for them. And at the end of the dungeon, they're berated, or during the dungeon, they're berated just all over the place with words and text, and of course you can ignore it, but it's not like they want to ignore it, because sometimes when they see what they say and it's like, okay, well, there are hints of a tip in the toxic words they're saying, so maybe I should read it. But a lot of the times it's them complaining about how they're not good as a tank, they're not good as a healer, and sometimes not good as a DPS. And some people will tell you to uninstall the game, which that, like, who goes around telling people to uninstall the game like that? Like, what kind of person who can be so vain as to tell a person to uninstall? And I think these elitists who, and this is just one sect of the toxicity, is elitists who are like hardcore raiders who rush dungeons so quickly and so hard that, you just gotta know because you're at level 80 or something like that. You're at max level, so you should definitely know what you're doing as that job, going in through the dungeon like that. Not slowing down, not respecting, the pace of the person who wants to take it at that pace. And it's all the time. Now, being comfortable in playing the game is something that I thought was part of our community. Turns out it's not in some places, and it's not like this is new, but I am quite disappointed in the fact that I have to witness that a lot of the times. And it still gets me that someone tells someone to uninstall the game, and sometimes it's not even because of the dungeon that they ran or how they use the job, but because perhaps they don't like the story. This is something that I saw in one of the videos, is that if you don't like the story, don't play the game. Now, I may be a lore-based channel, but if you don't like the story, I mean, most likely you're not going to see my channel, and, well, if you don't like the story, that's okay. If you like the rest of the game, you're going to continue to play. Keep playing. That's all I really got to say. If you don't like the game, by the way, you don't have to play the game. You can always play something else. If you got bored with the game, if it just didn't give you what you want, that's fine. You can unsub. A lot of people who say that, why are you playing the game if you're not really into it or something like that, you need to unsub. The whole unsub deal, that's up to anybody's discretion to unsub. Don't tell somebody to unsub. That was point blank. Don't tell somebody to unsub. It's like telling them, hey, just because I don't like raiding, I should unsub. That's really weird. It's like, why are you playing if you don't like raiding? Unsub. I hate that. I hate that so much. Another thing that I've been hearing is that the 14 community is hating on the WoW community, and that we are so impassioned by the game that we will defend it to a fault. Now, there are some messed up things in the game. Like, there are some things I wish that they would change. Like, for instance, my job as the Dark Knight, I wish we had Soul Survivor and Abyssal Drain. but we don't, and I don't think they'll ever give it back because apparently that's too advanced for the casuals who are coming in. And you know, I mean, I do have some opinion about that. I do have some criticism about that, but I'm still going to continue to play the game. If you're going to yell at somebody because they're a WoW player and they just want to try out the game, how inviting are you that you just want to lose a potential player? Maybe they want to have a vacation and get away from World of Warcraft, so they chose 14. Oh, but he is a World of Warcraft player, he shouldn't be here. Go back to your game. What kind of sense is that? And it sucks because a lot of the WoW refugees are going back to World of Warcraft because of the new expansion that's coming out. And good for them. I hope they enjoyed that expansion. I hope it doesn't suck. But to tell them, oh, just because you got your expansion, just leave. Your expansion's coming out, leave. Don't come back. You know, that's... Who says that? Why would anybody say that? And I've been told that that is a thing. Go back to World of Warcraft, you WoW player. Again, I thought this was more of a positive community. I thought 14 was a more welcoming community, but this isn't a huge number of people that are saying this in the community. These are just loud voices that you know, seem to want to complain a lot about. Especially when it comes to like content creation. I've had a lot of criticism in my content, like in my guides. For one, my Gunbreaker guide was I never said in that guide that this is the suggested way to do a rotation. I said it was an easy rotation to get into until you want to figure out and do an advanced rotation. And a lot of people who just don't seem to use their noggin understands that's what I'm saying. A lot of people who've seen the Gunbreaker video said that it was a positive take and it made it easier for them to play the Gunbreaker. But then you have just pure-hearted elitists who go into the comments and said, this is the proper rotation, this is how you do it, this is how you properly play as Gunbreaker, right? And they'll post it and repeat it over and over again, sending links to the you know, to the Balance Discord. And I guess they're advertising for the Balance Discord now, I guess. I said in that video that you just need to get used to the job, and I will say that for every job out there. Get used to it first, then try those optimal rotations, because you're not going to get it at first. You're going to mess up, especially at early levels if you're trying to level it, and then when you get it at max level, you know, the point of this video game is to enjoy the video game. This is not something that is super competitive. We're not in any kind of esport. And I would say that if you're really good at the game, good for you. If you're a hardcore raider, good for you. I hope you're enjoying the game, but nobody has to be so high tier at playing a job in order to play a level 80 dungeon where they're doing hundreds of thousands, well, 100,000 damage as the best samurai or black mage, right? They have to have the highest gear. They have to have the best rotation to be done. These are just people who are just trying to play the game. And if you just can't get around the fact that some people do not play the same way or play at a way that you like, then I guess tough nuggets, because you're just gonna have to get used to it. They're all over the place, and having them leave the game will only destroy the game. I mean, if you think about it, casuals are a bigger number than any of the veterans or the hardcores, and they're a much bigger bloat of money than any of us who are veterans or hardcore. They make a bulk of the profit for 14, and the game being made around that makes sense. I'm not upset with that. I do have criticisms, and I do have slight worry about it, but the more people who play the game, the better, right? At least that's what I thought. Hearing all of this about toxicity coming around when it comes to like FC organization or people playing in a certain way and telling them off for any content creator, by the way, telling them off because it's like, oh, that's not how you do that raid, that's not how you do that job. My opinion on that is different from yours. It's definitely something to be talking about and give you a whole lot of hate for. Like, I was watching Lynx's video, and he's one of those people that rushes the party to get through the dungeon as fast as possible. So it's a little odd for me to hear him, and by the way, it's a fine video, but it's funny to hear him talk about how he doesn't like the fact that people are judging other people for how they play, and you know, how people go about in this certain kind of nasty, disgusting, toxic stance, and seeing him rush a dungeon and pretty much pushing the entire party to keep up with him, and it's kind of funny, and I don't know if that was irony or not. But I have no qualms against Lynx. I don't hate Lynx, and I don't know the guy. I've never spoken to him. He seems like a fine guy, so that was just something that I wanted to point out. And Work2 Games touched on this subject, how there are just toxicity within the community that's very loud, and it's because we are divided. We are diverse and divided. We don't have a lot of content creators on 14. Many of them have done nothing. The consistency of our video outputs is rather slow, rather low. I mean, when's the last time you saw Larry Lur video that's new? And I know he posted a video not too long ago, but when's the last time you saw a Scott Zone video, which I'm pretty sure he's gone? When's the last time you saw like a proper, if Mythry even does video? Well, he does. It's very slow on the intake. But how about Miss Tech? She only does basically raids now, and not dungeons, and doesn't really talk about the game as much anymore. She'll make the video when it comes to like the raids and put out guides for that, but you know, she doesn't do anything more than that. When's the last time you saw an Ethis video? When's the last time you saw my video? And you know, we have real life jobs, we have real life worries, but you know, making a video like what Ethis and I do is it's a lot of work. It's a lot of research. It's a lot of time and hours, and we don't get paid for those hours. That's why I have a real-time career and a job. I can't just stop what I'm doing to make a video. I have to worry about that first, worry about my family, worry about what's happening around in the world. I work in a very essential place in the medical field, let's just say that, and well, I mean, my attention's on that a lot of the times. I want to try to put out a video every Sunday, but it's kind of hard. So I stream every day to try to make up for that. It's almost like, you know, a lot of content creators aren't really appreciated. And then you got streamers out there that are hardcore raiders, and that's fine, but for people like me and people who are just, you know, really casual and into the game as a casual person, I've had a person in the chat saying, I don't like watching any of these big time streamers on Final Fantasy XIV because a lot of them just do raiding and it gets boring, or it's just not entertaining. So my streams, I try to make it more entertaining, more inviting, more positive, more mellow and chill, have good music in the background, we can all talk, and it's kind of the reason why I made a Discord, so that I can talk with anybody who's in chat. Of course, I'm probably going to have to limit the voice chat, but I don't have like a huge following, I don't have a lot of people watching my streams, but I want to transform the 14 community into an even more positive. I only saw the positive in the community, so I was blind to all the negatives. Well, not all of them, I knew they were there, I just thought it wasn't as big as it was, but apparently this is a big problem that has to be addressed. So my reaction to that is, I want to make this a more positive community. I want this to be a place for anybody, whether you're casual, hardcore, somewhere in between, whether you love the story or you're meh with the gameplay, but you're in love with the story and you still want to play, or maybe you hate the story or don't like the story so much, but you love the gameplay, you love raiding, you love the high tier stuff, you want to be in an FC, which by the way, be careful in an FC. I've been in a lot of drama when it comes to a particular FC, which you guys would only know if you joined my streams. It's like the third time I advertised my stream. Going past that, I want to build a more positive, a more inviting community. I have no hate for World of Warcraft players or anybody who plays any other MMO. I don't judge new players as a hindrance. There's no prejudice against them. In fact, I'm very inviting with them. If they have any kind of question for me, they can come to me and I will answer them or help them out if they're in my server, And that's I want to make a base for a positive community. I want to work with other content creators so that we can do just the same. Raid with each other if we're in the same server, do dungeons, talk about stuff, have a good time, show them what it looks like to have a good time in a very positive Final Fantasy XIV community. And I don't think it's hard. It's more or less our voices may not be as loud as those who are yelling it out in Twitter. And Twitter is kind of the nastiest place you can be when it comes right down to finding a positive vibe. It's Twitter. Twitter's not very positive. You're going to get a lot of negative because the sensation of having a negative tweet or information is what riles and gets your tweet more views and clicks and likes and responses. I hate that about Twitter, but I can't seem to not go back to Twitter, and I'm thinking it might be an addiction, and that sucks. So to end this off, I just want to keep this positive. I may have been blind to the negativity in 14's community. I don't agree with this whole hatred of the WoW players, and I hope that's not a huge thing. I'm not very prejudiced. In fact, I don't think I am prejudiced to newer players. I know I complain sometimes when it comes to the streams. I'm like, oh no, new players, I'm in the lower dungeon. I'm more likely to complain about the dungeon, like the Orm Vale, than me playing with newer players, because I have my reasons to not like some of those dungeons, and newer players, they're new. Sometimes they don't know. You may die to a boss or two, but we as the veterans should be typing in chat, giving them a positive feedback and teaching them how to get through the dungeon. And that's me in my server, in my data center, over in the data center of Crystal, and the DIABOLOS server. And I've had plenty of positive experience while being there. I have a good FC, I have a good static now, we have fun on Tuesdays and Saturdays. We just learn instead of watching a video and then just trying to get it there. Like, raids is not the biggest thing for me right now. I do love doing hardcore raids, don't get me wrong. If I have a static that pushes themselves and we take everything that, we make a mistake as a learning experience and we push even further, then that's great. I've been in a hardcore raid before, and I will tell you, I like pushing myself when it comes to harder content. But that's only me. I also like having a casual fun time in harder content with the FC that I have right now. So there are a couple people that I do want to talk to and see if we can somehow make another hardcore static, but still keep it chill so that we're progressing, but at the same time keep it chill. I do want to find that, and they know who they are if they're watching this video. Yeah, hit me up if you ever think about making another static again. I think that's everything I wanted to touch upon. Touch upon the elitism, which is that's just not necessary for anybody. How there's a prejudice against newer players, which, though, like I said, if it seems like I'm having some sort of attitude about it, it's all for laughs. I'm not really hating on any newer player. I'm very inviting. There's no need for trying to be an elitist when it comes to dungeons. If you're with a newer player, please have some fucking patience. And just the whole negative loop that's within the community when it comes to content creators that are just trying to help others. I mean, what can I say about that? If I make a video and I say this is not a definitive rotation, this is just to help you out and get used to the job, then yeah, it's supposed to be for helping you get used to the job, not make you the best whatever. Like, it's never my intention. But yeah, yeah, if you guys have anything to say about that, yeah, leave it in the comments below. It could be anything. I mean, I'll take all feedback and see what you guys say. If you want to join me in my streams, again, this is like the 5th time I'm advertising, and I am so sorry. Just, yeah, what do you guys think about this whole negative community? What do you guys think about it? What are we gonna do about it? What's your thoughts on that? Anyway, I hope you guys are staying clean and healthy. I hope you guys are staying also positive, and I'll see you in the next video. Have a good night, have a good day, and goodbye.